I'm back. Let's not question it. Instead, let's just review some comics. First up is Old Man Logan, written by Jeff Lemire with art by Andrea Sorrentino. Following up from the events of Secret Wars, Old Man Logan, from the 2010 Mark Millar story, has arrived in the original Marvel Universe. This book is a lot stronger than I expected. I felt that the Secret Wars book kind of limbered around, not really knowing what to do. But with Jeff Lemire helming it, I feel like it's taken a good direction and knows what it's doing now. Seeing him try to write his own future by killing people is surprisingly interesting. And this issue especially was really fun, teaming up with Kate Bishop Hawkeye, who Jeff Lemire is writing in All New Hawkeye. Of course, this series has some problems. It's really confusing whether Old Man Logan is supposed to have come from an alternate universe or this universe's future, because we see in flashbacks some characters that didn't exist pre All New All Different Marvels, such as Miles Morales Spider-Man and Quicksilver with the dumb fast forward logo, the stupid. I'm not reading Uncanny Avengers literally just because of that, but that's not the point. But on the other hand, other characters like Avalanche are dead, and we're told as such, and there wasn't a female Thor in Wolverine's timeline. So it leaves it on this weird ground where obviously they're trying to say that he's from an alternate timeline and not the future of this world, but why would they rewrite half of that and not all of it? On top of that, at the moment it feels a little too Old Man Logan's tour of the Marvel Universe, where each issue he runs into a different character who he escapes from before running into another character in the last page of that issue. I mean, not that that's not interesting as such, but I'm hoping that they have a bit more to it. I also don't really understand how it ties in with Extraordinary X-Men, because the implication from that was that they found him just as he came through from the other universe, but at the same time, this book picks up from when he came in from the other universe. I don't know, man. All New All Different Marvel is weird. On the bright side, the art is amazing. Jeff Lemire's dialogue is good. So I'd definitely say this book is worth picking up if you enjoy a grouchy old man wandering around and killing people. Or failing to kill people, as most of this book seems to be. Next up is Black Widow issue 1, written by Mark Waid with art by Chris Samney. And can I just say straight up, the art of this book is so beautiful. Fresh off their run from Daredevil, you can tell that this team know exactly how to work together, and it creates an amazing looking first issue that evokes heavily an action movie opening sequence, like a James Bond, always escaping from these bad guys but we don't know why. At the same time, however, James Bond has the luck of being a movie where you see it all over the course of 2 hours. Instead we have this book where the entire first issue is one prolonged action sequence and there's no real story or hell even dialogue for most of the book. It makes it feel really light and it's an incredibly quick read, which for me isn't really a good thing. I like my books to have a bit of meat to them, and this just kind of, whilst it's not bad, like I said, it looks amazing, and it does set up an interesting looking story that I want to know more about. With Black Widow going against S.H.I.E.L.D., it kind of went too quickly, and I felt like it wasn't really worth my money. Of course, I imagine in later issues it'll pick up, but for now I'd say maybe give this one a miss until the second issue comes around and you know whether the story's going to interest you or not. Because right now there's not really anything to go by. Next up is Standoff, Assault on Pleasant Hill issue Alpha? Why do these titles always have to be so weird? Why can't it just be Standoff Assault on Pleasant Hill, issue 1 and 2? Or part 1 and 2, or chapter 1 and 2? Why does it have to be Alpha and Omega? Whatever, not the point. Point is, this event's kicking off to a pretty decent start. I'm always confused by these sort of events where it's just a book at the beginning and a book at the end and then a bunch of other stuff in the middle. Do I need to read Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Howling Commandos to understand what's happening? Because I don't want to do that. I don't want to sacrifice my time to read those books I don't care about. However, this one seems pretty clearly like it's just going to be these 2 books, and then any stuff that you want to read kind of takes place in the middle and kind of sets stuff up or explores side stories. So I'm okay with that, because I can just keep reading the books I like, and not care about the Uncanny Avengers with Quicksilver's dumb fast forward logo. I'm really mad about that. I know it's not rational. It just looks so stupid. It just looks so stupid. What was I was talking about Standoff, yes. I like that this book focuses on the 3 Captain Americas. Sam Wilson and Steve Rogers are both currently Captain America, or will be very soon in Steve Rogers' case. But we also have Bucky, who was Captain America for a few years, and nobody really talks about it anymore because he was in that dumb book in space. Space Captain America. Captain Space. Didn't work. Wasn't... like, the art was really nice. I don't think it was badly written, but it just felt like a weird direction to take Bucky in. I'm going on a lot of tangents at the moment. This is what happens when I don't write a script. I just tangent a lot. Not the point. So, yeah. This story seems like it's going to focus around the 3 different Captain Americas, and I think that's a really interesting story you can tell, because I haven't seen much of them together yet, because they've all been in such like disparate places, and that drawing them together in one conflict is really interesting, especially with what happened with Sam Wilson and Captain America, Steve Rogers, Captain America. Unfortunately, I felt this issue wasn't quite as good as Welcome to Pleasant Hill, the sort of prelude book, because it had some humour that, whilst Nick Spencer's humour is funny, it felt kind of out of place here. This is a more serious story dealing with like a interesting moral quandary, a more interesting moral quandary than Civil War 2, by the way. But you still had scenes where Maria Hill is cracking wise, or S.H.I.E.L.D. agents are just being generally incompetent, and it sort of made the tone a little off. Whereas I felt Welcome to Pleasant Hill did a really good job of having a consistently like creepy Twin Peaksy sort of vibe. However, that doesn't make this book bad. The dialogue's really good, and when it is funny, it is funny. And I think we're getting the new Steve Rogers Captain America out of this, and I'm excited for that, because then I get to read twice as much Nick Spencer Captain America as before, and hopefully it won't be half the quality, which is usually what happens when writers write more books. Okay, not going to depress myself with that. Instead, yeah, I'd say pick this book up. It looks like it's going to be a really fun event. If you're picking up any of the books and are tied into this, I would say it's important. And you're not going to be disappointed by it. I mean, it's Nick Spencer. Unless you hate Superior Foes of Spider-Man, Astonishing Ant-Man, and other good things like sugar and happiness and warmth, then yeah, don't pick it up. And finally we have the Omega Men issue 9, written by Tom King. Oh god, my emotions. The Omega Men was a book I didn't like to start with. I felt like I didn't understand what was going on, and that annoyed me, because I was like, why am I reading this? What's happening? They're all just speaking weird alien languages, stop. But then I realised that's what makes it such a good book. It's a book that respects its audience and understands that they can pick up what's happening bit by bit just from reading the book. And at this point, issue 9, where we are now, I feel completely invested in this world and these characters, and I want to see them succeed or fail or just live their lives. I want to see stuff happen to them. And yeah, this book destroyed me emotionally. I can't really spoil it because I feel like that's ruining it. But the Omega Men is the kind of sci-fi you don't really see anymore in the big two. What with Guardians of the Galaxy being a big annoying story about Peter Quill is having fun adventures, or whatever is happening in Guardians of the Galaxy under Bendis at the moment. You're not getting these sort of epic cosmic stories about entropy and the end of the universe, but also about people and conflict in such an interesting way. It's hard to explain, but I really dig it. And if that sounds like your sort of thing, I would definitely say you should be picking this book up. I think it's ending at issue 12, so maybe wait for the trade at this point. But issue 9 is a really strong entry, with a lot of interesting moral quandaries being raised, and it makes you feel so bad for Kyle Rayner. He just wants so hard for everyone to be happy, and he's just so bad at it. He's like the stupidest Green Lantern, and I kind of love him. So yeah, Omega Men, great book. If you're into that sort of thing, if you're into sci-fi with hard-hitting questions and cool art, I would say definitely pick this book up. And yeah, that wraps up our reviews for the week. I know that once again I've been off doing stuff in university, and other such things, and I haven't had time to make videos, and I feel like I keep going back and promising, but this time I have a schedule. I'm going to try my hardest to keep to it. I want to launch a few other things. I want to do less of this sort of stuff, do less comic reviews, like I was doing them as individual videos, and I don't think that was working for me. So I want to do this, but I also want to add in other stuff, and I want to talk about things other than comic books. I started watching wrestling, and I feel like it would be fun to talk about that. I kind of have an idea. I want to go back and watch WWE from 1997, like month by month, and do a video where I discuss what's happening and how it's different from what I'm seeing now. And if you guys are interested, or hell, even if you're just still watching, why don't you comment and tell me if that sounds like an amazing idea that I should definitely do. Yeah, I'm going to try and have more content out. I've got a bunch of ideas I want to do. I want to do more like, I know, almost Linkara style reviews, not on camera, but where I do a longer story arc and I just pick it apart in detail and talk about it scene by scene. I've actually got one coming up, hopefully, for Civil War, which I have some strong opinions on, and I think you guys would be interested to hear them, even if you disagree, which I'm sure a lot of people do. I know people love that book, but I just want to keep doing stuff, and I'm sad that I've failed so badly at keeping video content coming out regularly. So I've got a schedule. I'm going to try and stick to it. There's going to be one of these every week, hopefully one of those WWE videos every week. I might also, I don't know, turn this into a larger podcast sort of thing, do comic book reviews, talk about the week in wrestling, talk about the sort of, I was going to call it Do It With Attitude, like do that as a segment of a larger podcast, but also try and do some scripted stuff with shows but are more based on older comics and reviewing them and tearing them apart, or pointing out why they're amazing, or recommending books. Yeah, stuff. I'm gonna try. Let's see how it goes. If you are watching this, then I want to thank you for, one, sticking through my rambling, and two, just, you know, coming and watching a video where a ginger weirdo talks about comic books. And have a good time. Hopefully I'll see you next week, if I don't collapse into a pit of sadness and work again.